Welcome to another edition of the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
That's Blake Aaron, and I'm Tina Anderson.
Hey, and it is the Blake Aaron Radio Show, and we're so happy to have back in the studio with us. Najee has joined us again today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to see you, my friend.
You too.
Yes.
Welcome back. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you've got a brand new CD out.
That's right.
Called The Smooth Side of Soul, and looking pretty smooth on the
Very
record cover there.
In fact, I don't know who wrote this on your website, but I just have to read this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody listen closely. Najee is a master storyteller. Whether the debonair multi-instrumentalist is engaged in a verbal or musical conversation, his alluring charisma has a way of seducing you into his world.
So you need to have Tina reading your
That's
your
what
bio
I'm talking about.
when your
Who
website
wrote
comes
that?
on.
I
Who
read
wrote
that. I read that, but it didn't sound like that in my head when I heard
it. Doesn't resonate the same way. Woo! So there you go. I mean, that's the way you write a.
Makes you want to buy one of your own albums.
I'm telling you, like, wow, where can I get a copy?
Makes you want to date yourself.
Wow, I didn't know I was that cool.
Hey, what are you doing Friday night? Oh, I'm free. Okay, let's go.
That's good.
Oh, man.
Mr. Debonair. All right, anyway. Seriously, though, the website is amazing, and the video with Phil Perry, oh, my gosh.
Oh, thank you.
It is phenomenal. That song is really fun, kind of R&B-ish.
Yeah, it
like
is.
a club song. I mean, really. It's
and it was intentional. We stumbled across it. It was actually, I was at that point in the record where I just wanted something that had a little twist, a little break away from what I normally do. And Chris Big Dog Davis, who produced the song, had written that song with Phil Perry and with Will Downing and sent it to me. And I said, man, this reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to play on these disco records, play flute. I'd get called to play flute. When I was like 16, 17 years old in New York, there was a label called TK Disco, and they made disco records. That's what they did. And I would get calls to come in and play flute. And even though I couldn't play that well back then, I mean,
well, disco music wasn't that highbrow. So
right, yeah,
it probably
exactly.
doesn't really matter. I was like,
So
I remember, I played flute for like 2 years when I was in junior high. And I remember as long as you could play that,
there you go, exactly.
Then you got a gig.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Well, anyway, but getting back to this, look at it, spectacular, and you've hit #1 with this, correct?
Yes, we
this
have.
album?
Yes, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, not only do you have R&B on here, but you got Straight Ahead, and you got all kinds of. What was the concept behind this album? Did you just feel like I need to do something different? I need to express something different.
I really didn't have a concept. I hate to say that. People ask me that question. It's like, I just wanted to record a record that made sense. Right. And what I find in what I'm doing now is, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as it all connects together and it makes sense and the people like it. And for the most part, the responses we've gotten have been great. So,
yeah, I'm sure.
So to me, doing Straight Ahead is not unnatural for me, as well as playing R&B. I can, as a career starter, I started in the R&B world. When I say start, that's where I began making money. So, it's not unnatural for me to have the R&B grooves, but I also play Straight Ahead as well, and so it's just really a combination of all those elements, really.
I think, don't you think also too, Blake, as a musician, that maybe sometimes to overthink it, maybe just go in and just have fun, put some music down, and just put your personality in there, which is, whatever you are. And and then sometimes maybe the opposite approach of trying to have the conceptual idea and keep it flowing together. Maybe sometimes it's nice just to go, hey, I just want to play some music.
Yeah, let it have its own life.
Yeah.
Well, I'll admit there's some people that can do that. That has never been my career. I just went with what I thought was a feeling and where we were at the time, and that was it. I mean, my first 4 albums, they achieved platinum status, but I wasn't. I can't say in my mind I'm going to get a platinum record and I want a Grammy nomination. None of that was in my head. Right. I just wanted to get in the game.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was a big, huge void there for instrumentalists, and in the late '80s, and I was just fortunate to just tap right in at the right time and.
Well, plus your background with someone like Shaka Khan, that I'm sure you learned a lot from her, because she's so much fun, and yet she's a great vocalist.
She is.
I just played her song today in spin class. I'm Every Woman.
Oh yeah,
you know that one, Every Woman. You know that one, Blake? I'm sure you sing it to yourself all the time.
All the time in the shower.
I bet you do. Yeah. It's probably too much information, but sorry I shared it. So sorry.
Well, anyway.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. Let's get serious. It's music here. Anyway, I'm sorry. Did I break your train of thought? What were you going to say?
I was going to talk about like serious musical stuff here.
I know. I'm so
what
sorry.
am I thinking?
Yeah, really? I mean, come on. No, let's get back to the real deal. But just real quickly, as when you do that, though, do you ever worry? Okay, I've got expectations, and then I go to straight ahead, which is very different from R&B. You don't worry about it probably. Just put it on there. Hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Honestly, I learned that there will be people who will get it and there will be some that don't. I don't really worry about it. To be honest with you, how the Straight Ahead song ended up there, I was involved with another project, a Straight Ahead project, which I began in Kansas City with a trio. And it had James Lloyd from Pieces of a Dream playing piano. And a couple of local musicians from the Kansas City area. And at the end of the project, I said, you know what, I'm going to take one of these songs off of this project and put it on this one. And that's what we did, And the song is called Sound for Sore Ears. It was written by a gentleman I studied with when I was a kid in New York at Jazzmobile named Jimmy Heath from the Heath Brothers. And as a kid, I had the opportunity to study under a federally funded program in New York where we paid $5 a year. And we got to study with these great masters, Jimmy Heath, Frank Foster, Billy Taylor was head of the program. And so on Saturday mornings, we'd go up there and take workshop classes with these guys. Well, fast forward many years later, about a year ago, I was in New York at the Blue Note with David Sanborn and Mulgrew Miller. And there was just a whole bunch of us doing a benefit for James Moody, who had just recently passed. And I said to him, I really want to do one of your songs. I've always loved this song. It's always had contemporary changes way back then. I'd like to redo it. And he said, man, I'd be honored if you did. So we just put it on the record.
Man.
Yeah.
How cool. And so you've also played with people like Freddie Jackson, and you mentioned Will Downing, Prince as well.
Uh-huh.
And I know you were on the program last time talking a little bit about Prince, but for some of the listeners who are listening to you for the first time on this show, how did that all come about?
Oh, man, I was...
Yeah, we want to know about Prince.
Well, I was invited to his show at Madison Square Garden in New York. And after the show, I was invited to come play with him at an after party. There's a rapper named Dougie Fresh who was there as well. And so I go up and I play with Prince. And about 2 weeks later, I get a call from Dougie. He says, hey, man, Prince is looking for you. That's how Dougie talks. Yo, man, he's looking for you. He wants to call you. I said, okay, we'll give him my number. So I'm living here in L.A. at the time. I get a call from this guy. He says, is this Najee? I was like, yeah. He said, the artist would like to speak with you. Because he wasn't going to the name Prince, right?
The artist.
True story. I said, yeah, I'd love to talk to him. He said, all right, he'll call you right back. Click, hangs up the phone, just like that. About 10 minutes later, same guy. He says, Najee, I have the artist on the phone.
Oh, my God.
He gets on the phone. He says, yo, man, what's up? I'm like, I don't know, what's up?
Yeah.
He says, when you and I getting together? I got to be honest, I didn't know how to take that, so.
You had to think for a second?
I had to think for a minute.
Maybe it's a different kind of phone call.
Maybe he was singing Chaka Khan tunes in the shower.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, okay, here we go. I don't know, But, it ended up that after the conversation, before all that, he says, all right, well, when can you come out to Minneapolis? I said, well, I don't know. He said, why don't you come out right now? I'm like,
wow.
Well, I can't come out right now. He's like, well, when can you come out? I'm like, I don't know, maybe in a few days or so. He says, all right, I'll call you back. Click, hangs up just like that. I was like, this is weird, man.
Wow.
And about 10 minutes later, I get a call from a travel agent, and we make all the arrangements. We go out to Minneapolis, and it ends up just being jam sessions for like 3-4 days, like 2 in the morning to like 4 or 5 in the morning, every day at Paisley Park. And then after about 3 days, he says to me, listen, man, I got a tour for about 2 weeks, and I'd like you to join the MPG. Well, that ended up being 3 years, by the time we said I ended up doing a record with him called Rainbow Children, which was kind of a breakaway record for him. And we went on the road doing called the Hit and Run Tour, So we did Rainbow Children, yeah. Well, so it would be me. Sometimes it would be Candy Dulfer. It would be Maceo Parker, and sometimes it'd be the three of us together,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So now you were saying that not only did he call you last minute then, but didn't he always, when you were working with him, just expect you to drop everything and just whenever he wanted?
He was that kind of guy. Now, unfortunately for me, I couldn't do that all the time, and that's actually where we kind of had a little parting of the ways, because he came to me one day. He said, "Listen, I got this tour in Europe. We're going to go for 2 weeks, and I need you for this period of time." So of course we didn't take anything, and he never mentioned he canceled the tour or wasn't going, So,
yeah.
But that's just one of the downsides,
Sure.
But there were many upsides being around him. Yeah,
I bet. I bet.
I know. I want to hear more about those. I have a couple questions about Prince.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
We got lots more coming up with Najee. Just getting started.
Mr. Debonair.
That's right.
He'll lure you into his world.
I'll be right back with so much more of Najee on the Blake Aaron Radio Show. Right back with more
on the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
Hey, it's the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
That's Blake Aaron, and I'm Tina Anderson.
And we're back with Najee on the Blake Aaron Radio Show with Tina Anderson, and having a great time already.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's always a great time with Najee here in the studio. One of the things that I think we touched upon briefly last time you were here, and by the way, I got to tell our listeners, since Najee was here in the studio last time and this time, we went together. This is how cool and regular of a guy Najee is. After we were done with the radio interview, Najee says, what's going on? I'm looking for something to do. Let's go out and play or something. I said, well, a friend of mine, Will Donato, is playing up in, I think it was in L.A.
Yeah, it was in L.A., downtown, yeah.
And we're down here in Mission Viejo. It's about an hour south of L.A., and Najee just says, well, let's caravan it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually went all the way up to L.A., and we both sat in with Will Donato. And this is the first time I didn't even know Najee played flute at that time. I think last time you were here,
right, that's right,
you just played saxophone.
Saxophone, yes.
And Najee just knocked me out with his flute playing. And, I'm assuming you did that because Will was on saxophone. You wanted to add a different...
I didn't, break it up a little bit.
Break it up a little bit, different color, different texture. And so I was just blown away by his playing, and I was just starting to write this new tune for my single, and this was fall of probably 2010 or something.
Yeah, I believe it was 2010.
Yeah, and as I started writing, and I thought, this would be so killer to have Najee play flute on this. And I contacted Najee, and he was just so gracious and so cool and offered to play on it right away. I sent him the tracks, and the hardest thing, and this is no kidding, the hardest thing about the tracks that Najee sent was deciding which ones to use.
Well, I hope that was a good problem.
It was a great, because they were all so cool. It's like, man, well, what about this one? That one's cool too. But
that's great.
And it was just so cool. Just added such a magic to my song. So now I know firsthand what a
thank you. Very
great
kind.
player. Yeah.
I was riding in Washington a couple of weeks ago, and I heard it on the radio just before you had performed. That's what made me call you, actually.
Yeah.
When I was in New York, because I was riding in the car, and I happened to have on Sirius Radio, and it came on. And I was like, wow, I forgot that I played on this.
The guy sounds like me.
Good.
Yeah, I was like, well, listen,
good.
Oh, that's Blake. Oh, okay. And then I got the email from you that you were performing at Spaghettini, so that's why I reached out to you.
Right, and then Najee just came down, and I know you weren't able to make that one.
Yeah,
we had a blast. You missed it.
I know, I did.
Najee
rock and roll, baby.
We just
that was Aisha was there too, right? Is that the
Aisha
one?
was there.
I know it was a killer show. I had family here, as usual. Always have house guests, but that one I know. Sorry, next time.
So one story I know that we touched upon last time was speaking of your excellence on flute, is that you actually had a bunch of your saxophones stolen.
That's right. Yes.
And talk about turning lemons into lemonade. That really actually inspired you to play flute.
Absolutely. I was in this band, and it was Christmas Eve. We had a rehearsal, and rather than I lived in New York, and I lived in an area in Queens that, okay, you could be walking the streets at the wrong time of night with instruments, and you may not make it home with the instruments. You might not make it home at all.
Right.
But anyway, so I was, I was told to leave my instruments there for the night, and I did at the rehearsal space, which was in somebody's home. Well, Christmas Day, these guys come to my house and say, man, we're sorry, but the house was broken into and your horns were stolen. And I was like, oh. Man. And I did bring my flute home, And for like a whole year, actually almost 2 years, I didn't play saxophone at all because I didn't have any instruments, So it forced me to play flute, and that's how I began developing on flute. And fortunately, back then, you had a lot of great flute players on the radio. You had Herbie Mann, you had Hubert Laws, and, it was a very prominent instrument in the music business. So I began to study seriously through my teacher in high school, and then he directed me to a program on the weekends with at Manhattan School of Music to study with Harold Jones. So I took private lessons with him when I could afford to. And then Jazzmobile. Because Jimmy Heath and Frank Foster, they played saxophone, but they were great flute players as well. So I was able to still participate and develop on the instrument. And then my brother and I, we had this band called Mystic Funk, and I was the lead player, you know, so I was just had to go up there and play all the songs on flute, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Was that one of the first huge setbacks for you as an individual, as a musician? I mean, had you ever dealt with something that devastating in your life? Because to me, that sounds like it would be. I mean, it changed.
It was.
You know, to not obviously have, I guess, the money at the time to be able to just go replace that and change the course of your life. How did you? I mean, in the initial stages, what did you do to kind of pick yourself back up? And
well, it was heartbreaking. I got to tell you, and it was on Christmas Day too. You know, a day people were supposed to be happy.
It's got to be just like the worst of worst.
You know, I mean, it was heartbreaking, but you know, fortunately, sometimes the divine hand isn't everything. But in this case, I could see that, you know, because as I developed on flute, and then as things went on in time, you know, I began to get my first recording session when I was 16. I was telling you about TK Disco Records.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, people would just call me to come play flute solos, you know, and
so there you go.
So
I think, you know, some of those just poignant moments in your life, though, you do look back and go, wow, it was divine intervention. But at the time, I just
it was very heartbreaking.
Imagine at that age, too, you haven't dealt with that much severity and you know, disappointments. And that is a huge one. That's not, like, you know, not winning your, you know, basketball game or your favorite team not making a Super Bowl. I mean, this is... Wow.
Well, you know, it's so funny because you look at those things and they become lessons for life, if you will. You
Absolutely.
know, you can't always judge where you are at the moment as being a setback. You know, you never know where it may lead you. And, you know, fortunately, one day my teacher, my high school teacher, music teacher, he said, I really like to see you play saxophone again. And back then you could take instruments home, you know, from school. And he gave me a tenor saxophone to begin taking home and practicing again.
How did it feel?
Yeah, I was going to say, how'd that feel?
After 2 years.
Oh, man, it was great. You know, to be honest with you, you know, for a woodwind player, flute is a much more difficult instrument. So,
is it?
Yeah, it was easier for me to get back into the horn than it would be to go the other way, you know. So that period of time where I had to devote to flute was really, really good for me, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Huh. Now, did you ever get into classical as well?
I did, yes.
Wow.
I studied with Harold Jones. He was the first flautist of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra, and he taught at Manhattan School of Music. And then ultimately, when I went to college, I went to New England Conservatory of Music, which had a program. I was in the jazz department, but you know, you had to have classical training as well to be there. So, you know, I didn't go up the street to Berkeley. I wouldn't the other way.
And you were there with your brother, right?
Yeah. I was. Yeah, we went there at the same time, both of us, with no money. Couldn't figure, you know, we went there with $200 between the two of us, and thinking we went to one of the most expensive cities in the country, Boston, thinking we were going to get an apartment back then. And
what did you do?
Oh, it was a long story. You sure you got time?
I mean, is it couches or cars or I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you very quickly what happened. We got there, and of course, we spent the most of our money eating. We had stayed with a friend of ours who was from New York that allowed us to stay in her apartment because she was always in and out. And then after one weekend, she comes back and she says, "Listen, you guys can't stay here anymore because my parents, you know, are paying for the apartment, and they know you're here. I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble." She was going to Boston University. So we had to figure out something else, and we're walking the streets trying to figure out, well, what are we going to do? You know, we have no money. We can't go home. You know, we got accepted to this big, prestigious school. We're walking the streets, and we walk into a 7-Eleven store across the street from our school, and there's this guy behind the counter who yells at us and says, "You still a ugly," just like that, right? Cusses at.
Whoa.
He was cussing at my brother. And we're like, who could be? He says, "Yeah, I'm talking to you, the guy with the afro." My brother had this big afro.
Like, we're just musicians.
He said, "You still an ugly." I'm like, oh, God, what are we going to do, man? I'm going to pick up cans and hit the guy and run out. We turn around, and there's this guy who has a silver tooth from our neighborhood. And he looks at us. He's like, "What are y'all doing up here?" And we're like, "Kenny."
Oh.
And it just so happened he was part of a fraternity. They had a frat house there in Boston in the Roxbury section. And it just so happened that one of the frat guys never stayed there. He said, "Man, y'all come meet me after work," you know. And we went to the house, and these guys let us stay there the whole summer. We found jobs. We worked through the summer, and then we were able to register for school. I worked at the Christian Science Center. You know, I got a job doing vending machines, you know, and then we registered for school. And then we had to figure out how to pay rent. So we had figured out, my brother, who has a legal mind, he had figured out that based on the Boston Strangler, that all the doors in Massachusetts on apartment buildings had to lock, you know, when they closed. Well, we figured out if we break the front door and it don't lock, we could take the landlord to court. So we did that.
Oh,
and that tied us up for 3 months. I'll tell you the true story. We took the landlord to court. So for 3 months, and then finally after 3 months, the judge sees, something
what you're
must
doing.
not
Yeah.
right here. He's like, all right, you guys got a good case. You obviously done your homework, but I'll tell you what you're going to do today. You're going to put the money in escrow today here with the court. And we're like, now what do we do? So I write a bum check. And wouldn't you know, this is a true story. We left the court, we get back to school, and we had scholarship money that we didn't even know was coming to us.
Oh.
We get these in our mailbox. Wow. They send the school, please come to the financial aid office. We think we're about to be kicked out because we don't have no money.
Right.
We get there and they hand us these checks that we had to sign for, and it was scholarship money. Crazy story, but true.
Crazy, fabulous story. Those are
there, the rent was taken care of, tuition was taken care of for the semester. Just crazy.
So somebody's guiding you through life.
Oh
no
my God!
kidding.
Sometimes you just jump on faith.
Yeah. Wow, what a great story.
That's
really, I'm so glad you shared all that. That's, not the thing about, breaking the law. You're listening, children. Because those.
Yeah, but it was for a good reason.
Yeah.
We didn't
doesn't mean that you should write a bump check.
Yeah. No, but ingenious. Yeah, smart. I can see that. Wow.
Oh, definitely. Wow.
That's good information, though.
We got so much more coming up with Najee on the Blake Aaron Radio Show. And back in the studio here with Najee, and can't have Najee in here without doing some live music. So we're going to do a little standard here for you called Days of Wine and Roses.
Talk about unplugged, boy. Thank you. I've never played this song before.
Very nice. Najee in the studio. Very cool.
Right back with more
on the Blake Aaron Radio Show. Hey, it's the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
That's Blake Aaron, and I'm Tina Anderson.
Hey, it's the Blake Aaron Radio Show, and we are back with Najee in the studio for the second time, and so happy that he came back, having a great time, and hearing some different stories, actually, than we heard last time, and some cool ones. Wow,
who would have known? Got to peel away the quadruple threat, the man over here. That's on your website, too.
Man, they put that in there,
they
did.
Oh, do you want me to read what's in here? There's some good stuff in here.
Great.
He's a quadruple threat who is equally adept on soprano, tenor, and alto saxophones and flute. His technical agility, grace, compositional prowess, and unbridled passion, fearless genre bending, and superior musicianship have made him one of the most sought-after musicians of his generation.
Wow.
I thought you were going to say that with the sexy voice.
Oh, you want the sexy voice? I can bring that anytime you want. Don't worry. But no, seriously, in all seriousness, I know I mentioned this. It's NajeeMusic.com, right?
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and phenomenal website. And I mean that because it's so easy to navigate. So if you want to find out where he's playing, which Blake has a bunch of dates, but
I do.
Yeah, where he's playing and his latest songs and connecting through Twitter and Facebook and all of that, it's all right there, and it's so easy to figure out. So it's really one of the best websites I've seen.
Oh, well, thank you.
You know, not just musicians, but in general. It's really good.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, Najee, you can catch Najee playing live a lot in this, depending on what part of the country
my printer
you're from.
Stopped printing all the pages.
I know.
It stopped. I had like 4, and then it's gone. And so
we had to have Najee's bio trucked
there
in again.
Wow.
So once again, the new CD is called The Smooth Side of Soul. Already #1. Perfect Nights is the new single.
Yes,
that's
correct. Yes, current single.
And all kinds of great stuff on here from Just to Fall in Love featuring Phil Perry.
Yes.
And also featuring Chris Big Dog Davis from George Clinton fame. And also Jeff Lorber's on here quite a bit.
That's right. Yes, yeah. Jeff. Yeah.
And even a little bit of Straight Ahead.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Well, one song. Well, actually, there's this song. One of the songs I do with Jeff is Straight Ahead. You can say Straight Ahead as well. Yeah. It's kind of like a waltz, 3/4 waltz type thing. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because, many people may not know that Najee's a pretty serious player, not just in smooth jazz, but in all forms of music, and even had a chance to play with, people like, played for the president, played for Bill Clinton.
I know.
Yeah, and played for, as we mentioned before, Chaka Khan, Freddie Jackson, Will Downing, Phil Perry, Prince, we talked about before, Patti LaBelle, Phyllis Hyman, Vesta Williams, Jeffrey Osborne, and
wow,
take a breath.
All this stuff.
Yeah, Herbie Hancock, Stanley Clarke, Larry Carlton, Billy Cobham. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that record. We have a record together actually, live at the Greek.
Yeah,
Billy and Larry and Stanley, the 4 of us. We did a tour 2 years in a row called. Actually, it was Friends. I forget what it's called, but we did an album that ended up the tour after 2 years live at the Greek, which
that must have been an amazing experience.
It was great. It was wonderful. You know what I loved about that band? We never knew what we were going to do every night. We just go out and play.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
really?
What do you want to do? I'm like, I don't care. I mean, you guys are the master. I was the youngest guy in the band, so I was pretty much bugging that. I'm looking at these guys that I listened to a record as a kid, and I'm here playing with them.
Yeah.
So
were you doing standards?
We were doing
stuff,
everything. Yeah,
wow.
we were doing songs by Billy Cobham that he did in the 70s, like Stratus, things like that. We did Straight Ahead. We did, and Billy, his brother and I actually used to play together as kids. His brother Wayne Cobham is a trumpet player out of New York. And so I'm like, man, I used to just admire, Billy Cobham, and here we are on stage every night together,
I bet.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Wow.
I think the parallel, every time you guys talk about that, I think it's really fascinating that only the time I really hear that is when someone talks about playing with their sports hero. Like I watched you, as a young quarterback, and now I'm drafted on the same team.
Right.
I don't know that many situations or I guess careers where you can say that. Like I grew up watching you, and now I'm playing with you.
Sure.
But I only usually hear that with
that's
athletes.
Been true for everyone I've worked with. Shaka. I mean, I remember the Rufus albums, and my brother and I used to look at her on that cover like, wow.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And
hot stuff, definitely.
And now, and then when we were playing with her, we were just kids, really, just out of college, and we're like, man, I can't believe we're here, It's like,
and after all this, your brother's your manager now.
Now he's my manager, yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, he's a guitar player, but he doesn't go on the road anymore. He doesn't play.
He doesn't play at all anymore?
No, he's produced some of my biggest records.
I know.
and he's played on the records. But after he was with Jeffrey Osborne, I think it was in 80, I want to say 85, 86, he came off the road and he didn't want to tour anymore.
Oh, wow.
So,
well.
You know.
Huh. But now he can kind of manage you from the home?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, speaking of live, you can catch Najee live. The beginning of the tour is actually in Sacramento, April 1st at the Doubletree Music Hall. April 4th is in Atlanta, Georgia at the Cobb Center with Chaka Khan together.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, is she guesting with you, or are you guys doing
No,
like a
no, I'm actually opening a show for her.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So.
Well,
will you tell her that Blake sings her song in the shower?
Yeah.
Make sure maybe she'll come on the show and sing with him.
A good friend of ours just returned to Shaka's band, Melvin Lee Davis.
That's right.
Yeah, he's playing bass with Shaka
right.
again now. Yeah, so he's saying that he's really enjoying it. April 13th, San Francisco and Yoshi's. Actually, April 13th and 14th, and at Yoshi's in San Francisco. Now, check this out. You're going to be in Mozambique, Africa.
Yes.
How cool is that? At a place called Maputo. But now it is a workshop. Is that correct?
It's a workshop. The first part of the week, I'm going to do a workshop with students there, but then we have an actual concert there, a festival there, the more jazz festival. So,
have you played there before?
I've played in Maputo once before. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Then back home, May 12th in Beaumont, Texas, for the J&B Jazz Festival. Akron, Ohio. May 18th. Just the list goes on and on. We won't. I mean, it would probably take.
Just go to the website and look at
the rest of the radio show to go through all the list here. But yeah, go to Najee Music, which is NAJEE music.com.
Oh, that's right. You should spell it. We had a couple of DJs that are newer here, and I heard him debating over your name. I happened to be here.
I don't remember.
And it was so funny because I was just listening. I was curious.
Najee.
They were like, first they said,
actually, Blake says it well. He says it right.
Let's see, this would be a guy, right? Well, wait, that could be, and they were talking, and I was just listening to wait, and then finally I walked in and helped him out. But yeah, they were, you think this is a Nahi? No, it's not, no, Najee. What do you, and they were, it's great. I
got another funny story if you got time for this, but I'll never forget when my first album came out, and it was doing so well for a jazz record. And my first concert date was opening for Freddie Jackson. And back then he was doing these huge arenas and stuff. So we get to the first date on the concert tour, and it's in Milwaukee at the River Theater. I think it's called the River Theater or something. And we get there, and it's Freddie Jackson with special guest Ninja Man. Man, my heart was so broken.
Are you serious? No.
Ninja Man? Yes. So,
how do you go from...
I called my manager. I'm all upset,
man.
I
bet you are. How do you go from that? I mean, Najee didn't...
Well, I was just starting. Nobody knew who I was. I mean, I was getting some play at radio, particularly R&B radio, smooth, Quiet Storm format type stuff. And then we had a video out, which was getting a lot of play. And but opening for Freddie really blew my career really out, and but that first date at the concert tour was like heartbreaking, man. Show up and I want to take a picture of the theater, and I look and I'm like, Ninja Man.
Okay, so you just
come out with like a robe and swords and all that.
You could just play along with it, and then it would make sense because of the delicate flute, the ninja fighting warrior with my flute. Oh my gosh, you do have some good. Yeah, you do need to write.
You do.
You do need to. You need to write all this down.
I do.
It's entertaining, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, obviously you've got a big tour coming up, and that's going to last you probably, all the way through. You're booked pretty much until Christmas.
Yes, till November, I think. Yeah.
Don't leave your instruments at a friend's house. Do not do that this year.
We don't want any calls from Najee on Christmas Day.
Yeah, really.
We don't want any more stories. We don't want to add to that one.
Well, I'll have to get a Najee play going. We got to buy Najee a couple of new saxophones, you guys.
Man.
I don't know if you're a long-term planning kind of guy, but after the tour, where do you see yourself going after this?
Home.
You just walked right into that, Blake. You walked right into that to sleep.
Yeah. Go home and try to collect myself and probably, do another record or something. Right. Actually, I'm involved in a couple of projects. The Straight Ahead project, I really like to finish that one up. I started that, and that's a side of me people really haven't heard unless you've been in my shows or catch me with other people doing that. So.
Do you, when you're on tour like that, you must be playing with different people, or do you have a group that's going with you? Your band?
I have a band.
You
that
do.
comes
So
with me, yes.
that whole tour, you've got the same guys pretty much with you.
Pretty much.
Nice.
We want to bring Blake out. So as soon as Chuck is not available, you're going to get a call So he won't be on it. So tape all your shows ahead,
yeah,
in case you got.
Well, I'll be out there with him.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm ready,
I'll
man.
be in a suitcase, but that'll be great. Then the continuity for you must be fabulous if you've got the pretty much same crew.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I have a pretty, it's pretty rehearsed show. I mean, we do all the stuff with the audience and all that stuff.
I do think that the Ninja Man could be revived. I kind of
Najee featuring the Ninja Man.
Yeah,
Ninja Man.
I think when you do the
like
Ninja Man, you bring him out, and maybe you put war paint on the flute, like you get a special flute. And
it's another side of his personality.
It is. It's the other side they don't know about you.
Well, when I come out and I wave at the audience, I come with my Disney gloves, and I always wave to people when I come out with my Disney gloves. So.
Man!
No, I really do that.
Do you?
Yeah,
right.
my cousins, I come out with the gloves.
Nice. Okay. Well, there you go. Ninjas good.
Yeah,
get a new
we'll dress
audience
up every now and
young
then.
Kids.
Yeah,
that is a great story.
We'll have Blake come out and sing "I'm Every Woman." We'll do
that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
And they'll get a prop shower.
Yeah. The audience will be so confused.
Exactly, right.
They'll have no idea what's going on.
That would be funny. I'll get a call from Najee going, Blake, listen.
Yeah.
First of all, when can you be out here? How about you come out right now?
Yeah,
there you go.
Click.
Click.
And you have to hang up really
Just
fast.
hang up real fast. Yeah.
You can do the gig with me on one condition. You have to be Ninja Man.
There you go.
Well, you could be Ninja Man, and since he sings with Shock, he could be Ninja Woman because he's already in the role.
Yeah.
He's already in the role. But oh my gosh, great stories though. Wow, that's funny. It really is.
We are going to be right back with so much more of Najee on the Blake Aaron Radio Show. Hey, stay close.
Yeah, we'll be right back on the Blake Aaron Radio Show. Hey, welcome to the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
Hey, and I'm Blake Aaron, and that's Tina Anderson. And it is the Blake Aaron Radio Show, back here with Najee, and man, having such a great time. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Once
man.
again,
it's always good to see you.
Yeah, man. And
wow,
great to play with you.
Yeah,
I got to play with Najee at Spaghettinis with a full band, and now
right.
Now Unplugged is just live and raw in the studio. So it's always a blast. Sound great, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so Grover Washington Jr., I don't know how you could go wrong with anything from that gentleman. And I did meet him years ago, and I was saying off air that I didn't know the magnitude, really, of who I was meeting at the time. I was new to the genre of music.
Yeah.
And not that I missed an opportunity, but I just didn't take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed by him, and I didn't get it. But you probably have met him, or at least
several times.
Shared the stage.
Actually, when my career first started, I had the pleasure of opening for him for a couple of shows, and
wow.
But my first association with him was actually when my brother and I were in college. My brother was writing songs, and so he came up with these songs that I played soprano sax on, and some kind of way we found out where Grover lived in Philadelphia and got in touch some kind of way.
I thought you were saying we went to the front of his house.
We did go to his house. We did.
We started playing our instruments and waited for him to come to the door.
What happened was we wrote these songs, and I don't remember how we found out where he lived, but we jumped in my Volkswagen Beetle. My friend and was my brother Fareed, and who wrote the songs, and a friend of ours named Jim Lower, who was a drummer. And we drove down to Philadelphia, showed up at his door, rang the doorbell. He came to the door. Well, first his wife came to the door, Christine. And she had that look on her face like, what are you guys doing here kind of thing? And we explained our story. It was college students, blah, blah, blah. Wrote these songs for Grover. We think these are going to be great for his next record. Some kind of way she believed him. She believed us. She goes inside, gets Grover. Grover comes to the door and invites us in his home.
Wow.
Takes our little cassette, puts it in, he had a studio. He puts it in his little cassette, in the cassette player, and, it's coming across these big speakers. And needless to say, our song sounded like crap, But he pulled out his horn. He never made us feel bad, and he started playing with the songs, and we were like, wow, man, college is paid for, Wow,
yeah. Woohoo!
But of course, he never covered our songs. But, he just took the time and was just a very gracious man to us. I guess he saw the sincerity and,
wow.
That's the kind of guy he was.
I just love him even more. God.
Now, fast forward years later, right? My first album comes out, Najee's Team's doing great. I get the opportunity to open for him at Newark Symphony Hall in New Jersey, and it was a 2-show night. I go out, do my little thing, get the crowd excited. And, of course, if you've been to a Grover show, whenever Mr. Magic came, the show was pretty much, that was it.
Right.
Well, the second show, he decides, since he lives in Philadelphia, he's going to drive home. He's going to open the first show and let me close the second show. Big mistake, right?
Wow.
So he goes out there, and, of course, when he does Mr. Magic, the show is pretty much over,
Right,
so I go out there playing Najee's Theme or whatever it was we were playing, and people looking at me like, why are you here?
What are you doing?
We just heard Grover,
Dude, are you like when they clean up the...
It was a great lesson, though, in humility,
Yeah, they're cleaning up and you're playing.
Right,
like, it's the cleanup music.
Be like, I think we can still catch that restaurant, honey.
We're getting serenaded on our way out.
Yeah.
Wow, that is what a great story again.
Good,
that he opened up the door and didn't know who you were and
that's right.
Let you right in.
He let us in.
You were a pretty bold young man.
Well, actually, I have to say my brother was more bold than me.
Or both? Or
no, I was the shy one out of the two of us. I was really skeptical about the whole thing, but my brother, he always had that knack for being able to read people well.
A salesman.
He was just good at that.
Yeah, because most people wouldn't. Let's do that. Really,
I know.
Not too many.
But when you're desperate in college and got no money, you figure out ways to try to survive. And we wouldn't rob nobody, so that's what we had to do.
Yeah, break down some doors.
Break a door where you take the landlord to court, and then, he deserved it. He was a slumlord anyway.
There you go. Of course. Wow, and look at you now. You've got #1 albums and songs and wow.
I've been very
touring
blessed.
all over. Yeah. Well, you probably how this you put out and get back what you give. So I'm sure that's that abundance is coming your way for a good reason. And we, by the way, all of the tour dates, and there's a lot of them through Christmas, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. We end up after after Thanksgiving, I believe, or right before Thanksgiving. I can't remember now, but
close to that, right? Yeah. All on your website, NajeeMusic.com, so you can catch up with him and obviously get his new album anywhere.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And, in fact, don't you have the links on? I think on your.
We have a link to every outlet
right up there.
You can link on the Amazon. You can link on the iTunes. You can link on the Walmart. They got it all.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, we do.
I like that. It's good going there with
one-stop shopping.
That's right. That's right.
Definitely. So, by the way, The Smooth Side of Soul is what we're talking about.
That's right. That's
released in January, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in January. Did you work on that for a long time, or just kind of whip it together?
No, it was kind of sporadic. I find in my most recent years in my career, I enjoy collaborations more than anything. I came out here a few times and with Jeff Lorber, hung out at his place, and we probably went through maybe 30 songs and ended up with 2, that kind of thing. And
sure,
Jeff, he's always writing and creating something, so he's a lot of fun to get with. And actually, this is the second project he's worked with me on. And then Chris Big Dog Davis, who lives in Connecticut, was out there. When I'm in New York, I go up and drive up and see him and spend time with him. Same thing,
Yeah. What's George Duke like to work with?
George Duke is amazing to work with.
I like his old videos. I'm like, check it out. I'm just gonna watch them over and over again. It's like just get up, put on whatever you want, and be funky and move around and oh my gosh, is he like that in general?
He's very. As a matter of fact, I was in the studio with him the other night. Doing a project.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah. But, he produced the album I did, Songs from the Key of Life, this tribute to Stevie Wonder. He produced that whole album when I was with EMI Records. And, when I remember when I first met George, I was very nervous. It was the weirdest situation because I had won the Best Jazz Artist for the Soul Train Awards. And Dionne Warwick was performing a song that she and Grover did, and George Duke was playing piano.
Oh, wow.
And I had just won the award, did the acceptance speech, and they ran me backstage to come do the performance right afterwards. I didn't have time to put my horn out, so by the time I got to the stage, I was so nervous. And I could see George Duke
yeah.
Who is this guy? Yeah. I mean, why is he here?
He seems like, because he just seems like he just does his thing, and exactly.
Does.
Yeah.
But, then we had the opportunity to tour together. We went to Japan a couple of times. As a matter of fact, Melvin was playing bass with us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was playing with us. And then he produced, of course, a couple of my albums and stuff. We went to Switzerland. We did Quincy together over there. And he's just a great guy. I mean, he's very nice to be around, a lot of fun. He likes to joke.
He looks like he'd be a lot of fun.
Very jovial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had Jeff Lorber just recently on the on the show, and he was a blast to have on. We've been meaning to get George on one of these days.
Oh, you should just call him, man. Email him. He would probably come too. Yeah, he's very easy.
Yeah,
accessible.
He's just an amazing, musician. Yeah, but it must be so great going through your career and just having all these people that you've worked with, and then you end up,
You know what, man? And it's so funny because I couldn't imagine as a kid that would ever happen. I never planned for that. One day I'm going to be this guy. It was never that for me. It's just something I did, and opportunity for whatever reasons, always seemed to present itself ever since I was young.
Right.
I mean, my first gig out of high school was with Benny King. I don't know if you know him. Stand By Me.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And he hired me to go on the road for the summer. And I'll never forget. I was in my house, and his road manager comes by, and he sits in my kitchen. He's got a gun strapped to his leg, and I'm looking at this guy with a gun on his leg.
Wow.
I'm like, man, yeah, well, we need you to go on the road, but we need a commitment past the summer. And I'm saying, sure, whatever you want, man. Knowing in my mind, I'm out of here after the summer. I'm like, please don't shoot me. Not that it was like that,
right.
But a guy in your kitchen with the gun strapped to his leg.
I'll work for as cheap as you want.
Yeah. Keep the gun where it is. If you don't like what I'm doing, just...
All right, got a little bit more live music here with Najee in the studio. How High the Moon. Right back with lots more on the Blake Aaron Radio Show. Welcome to another edition of the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
That's Blake Aaron, and I'm Tina Anderson. You have played with a lot of different people and collaborated, really, especially starting with the disco stuff and then going. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask you, getting back to you had shared your story about Prince. Mm-hmm. What about working with Prince? And now he hung up the phone quickly and just, okay, obviously abrupt and sort of the artist mystique. Was he welcoming and sort of gracious a bit when you were there, or was it still sort of standoffish and here's your part?
No, actually, he was very inviting. You know, when I got to Minneapolis, he thanked me for coming, and I remember it was kind of chaotic that night because we got there, my brother and I, and we were sitting in Paisley Park for like an hour, and he had this huge movie screen in this area where we were watching the Timberwolves play, you know, the playoffs or something.
Oh, he's a sports fan.
Yeah, he's a sports fan. Yeah, so we're sitting there watching, and he came in running saying, "Man, I'm sorry it took me so long to get to you here, but I lost the keys to my house." So I'm like, Prince lost the keys to his house? But, you know,
well,
we got along very well. And I'm going to tell you another funny story about this guy. One day he comes to me. I guess we never talked about money, right? So, you know, one day I'm in his kitchen in Paisley Park, and he says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And I'm like, "Sure." You know, he says, "I don't know what to pay you." I said, "I don't know what to charge you."
This is your first time going out there?
Yeah. Oh, wow. This is like after he asked me to join the band the whole bit. We did a little bit of his record. And so I said, "Well, I don't know, man." He says, "Well, what do you need?" I'm like, I don't know. He says, "You need a house?"
Whoa!
I was like, "Nah, man, I don't need a house. I'm not moving to Minneapolis. I'm not doing that." It's like,
you thought he meant to move out there,
right? That's exactly what he meant. Because he you know, he's done that for some of the musicians. Most of his musicians that were long term with him have houses there. You know, that he's bought for them. Yeah. So you know, I guess he wanted me to be in the band. He said, "Well, what do you need? Do you need a house?" You know, that because we didn't talk about money. We never talked about money.
Awkward.
And it was just one of those things. When I get home, there'd just be these nice checks at home. You know, I mean, it was that kind of thing.
Did he like pick up the guitar, put it down, go to the keyboard? Or did he flutter around? Because I've heard that he's really multi-talent. Like he likes to get on a lot of the instruments.
He's very multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most brilliant businessmen I've ever met in my life.
I've heard a lot of that about him.
He is very, very smart.
Yeah.
He's probably the sharpest, you know. And, I mean, he was one of those guys that, you know, we would do jam sessions from 2 to like 5 in the morning.
That's what you said.
You know?
It's like I saw him in L.A. years and years ago, one of my first, actually, concerts in L.A., and I just was just amazing to watch. I mean, you know, the whole time. And
he's one of the few concerts you go to and stand up all night. I mean, people stand up. So
it was really well. Did he wear purple? That's a bad question. Okay, never mind. As you can see, I have my purple over here, which I love. But anyway, no, you do have some great stories, and the ability to, I think as musicians, you guys seem like shapeshifters. Like you go into, you know, I'm going to play flute on this, and you go over to Prince here, and then you go to Grover, and then you go to Quincy, and then you go to classical. It's like you shift your shape and your playing, go into the room, let your essence, and then you come back out, and then the shape takes kind of a different form. I can't imagine how else you kind of go in and connect in a certain way, because someone like Prince versus someone else.
Yeah. Well, fortunately with him, he just let me do what I do. I mean, the hardest thing with him was if I had to leave the band to do other things and then come back. So I ended up writing out all my charts. I was probably one of the few musicians that stood on stage with charts on a stand.
Oh, wow.
Because it was just so much material. He had over 100 and something songs, to do.
And he would just pick from them every night?
He would change his show up regularly.
So he would just tell you, like, okay, we're going to whatever.
Right. Well, he would rehearse a show. I mean, his show was very, very detailed.
Okay.
So every little aspect of it. I mean, he'll have a dance move.
Did you dance?
With a snare.
Najee
Well, I mean, I would do the little
You're a debonair guy.
thing. Yeah.
You would draw the allure. You would lure everybody into your space. Remember that. Don't forget that, right. Najee. So, did you have your little dance a little bit?
I if there's a thing on YouTube of me playing with him on Jay Leno, and I'm doing my little step side to side with.
Serious? I'm gonna look that up.
Jay Leno, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Prince on Jay Leno. Just Google that.
Okay.
I'm in there. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna look for you. Well, do you have like a whole different look?
Yeah, I got a hat on.
Okay, you got the groovy hip thing going. Okay, not that you're not now. I'm just back then. Okay.
Now, were you in the band at the same time? I think I asked you this before. As Renato Neto.
Yes, Renato was there. Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, what a great keyboard player. I've had the opportunity of playing with him a bunch of times, and I got the same stories from him that just you got to be there whenever he calls.
That's it.
Yeah, I think he's still playing with him, as far as I understand.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah,
Renato's still there.
Well, when we come back, I still want to get into your opportunity to play with Bill Clinton or play for Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so we got lots more of Najee coming on the Blake Aaron Radio Show, so stay close. Once again, got Najee live in the studio here. We're going to play a little bit of live music for you, and Stevie Wonder's song by request, actually, by Najee's request. So first time for me playing it, so this will be fun.
That's why they call it jazz, right?
I can feel your body shaking, the mood is tight. This is not a time for faking. Let's take tonight so that we can have a chance for love. Come on, get on the floor. Your body and mind are shaking. Just lose control and see where it might take us. Give it a go so that we can have a chance at love. So darling, don't let go. Just let it go. If you let it go, then you'll know it feels right just to fall in love with you. I got a thing for you, baby. It feels right, yeah, just to fall in love with you. Just to fall in love, yeah, yeah.
right back with more
on the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
Hey, it's the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
That's Blake Aaron, and I'm Tina Anderson.
It's the Blake Aaron Radio Show, and once again, having a great time with Najee here in the studio. And we were talking last segment about that you had the opportunity to play for President Clinton at the time. And
Nelson Mandela, actually,
and
right?
Nelson Mandela, too.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
Well,
tell us about Bill first.
Bill? Okay. Well, let me see. When he was campaigning the first time, I did a few of his, in some cities like Oakland and things like that. And then how we got to play at the White House was Babyface was called to do it. And he said he couldn't put anything together in time. Why don't you get Najee? And then we got the call from the White House just saying, would you please come in and play at the White House? We're honoring, I think it was the president of Ghana, Jerry Rawlings. And would you be our special guest performer? And that's how it happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
what a good referral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously you knew Babyface from...
Yes. We knew each other. We had met a couple of times, like Grammys, I think. And then, but before, we also had the same publicist at the time. So he had told her, why don't you just get Najee? He's on, he's one of your clients. And that's how it happened. So,
that's simple.
Yeah.
We're expecting
because, one thing I had was a working band, and call those guys when we play,
Now, were you able to talk to the president and the fact that he's a fellow sax player? Oh, very cool.
Yes, several times. As a matter of fact, since that time, recently, probably about 2 years ago, we were at a function that he came to in Atlanta, and I went out and did my little performance solo, and he came out and he said, if I could play saxophone like Najee, I would have had a different career choice, And then, let me see, probably years before that, there was the Super Bowl in Jacksonville, and he was there. And my brother happened to be there in the same room and put him on the phone with me. He said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" Yeah, I was like, "Wow, Mr. President." I still call him Mr. President when I see him,
It'd be pretty hard not to, I would think.
Sure.
He's a great guy, though. He is. Very, very personal guy.
I've heard that. Yeah. Wow. So. How cool. Now, did he ever pull out his horn and play with you?
No, one time I was doing one of the inaugural balls, and Stevie Wonder had held up coming. It was Stevie Wonder, Michael Brecker, myself, Roy Hargrove, and Herbie Hancock.
Oh, my gosh.
And I don't remember. And Thelonious Monk Jr. on drums, and
I
think it was Ron Carter on bass. It was a big thing. And the press had worked it out with me to give me my horn. Now, I knew Bill Clinton would not take my horn and put it in his mouth. I knew that. But they were so adamant on trying to get pictures. So they had pictures of me giving him the horn. But, of course, he was like, no, I won't.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, because, you can't really share horns.
No.
Well, not a mouthpiece.
It wasn't a comfortable idea, but,
I'm just,
cameras went crazy doing it.
I bet. I had a thought. I was like, oh, yeah, that doesn't work, does it now? It's kind of icky.
Right. Unless Bill happened to have a mouthpiece in his...
Right.
Look what I have. Oh, my goodness. How'd this end up in here? Yeah, because you've done, like, The Tonight Show, too, haven't you? And a couple, like, a morning show, or like was it Good Morning America?
I've done Good Morning America, but that was so long ago. God, we're talking 20 years.
Yeah, but you've done that's what I'm saying. You've probably forgotten over some of the stuff that you've done, because you've been all over the place. And Nelson Mandela, did we talk about that the first time you were here?
A little bit.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, why don't you just
when he was
quickly,
president? Well, we went over as a gift to the nation. This is when he was president. I went along with Shaka Khan and Stevie Wonder. We went there, and there was a few other people there as well. And I had the pleasure of having lunch at his home. As a matter of fact, I have it on Facebook, a picture of my brother and I, the three of us together at his home there, So, very gracious man.
That must have been an amazing experience.
That was actually the very first time I went to South Africa back in 98, I think it was, 97, 98, something like that.
Been back many times since
then?
I've
been back about 7, 8 times.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how is there, I meant to ask you, what is your feeling these days about the appreciation and how they're looking at jazz in the rest of the world?
Well, you have a lot of musicians in other parts of the world that can do what we do very well. I mean, you go to South Africa, the musicians there are incredible players, incredible. I mean, and so they know what we do, and they're very familiar and very educated on the music. And one of the biggest festivals they have there is the Cape Town Jazz Festival. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, Dave Koz has been there. A lot of us go there and do it. Jonathan Butler, who's from there, actually. And then there's several other cities there, like Johannesburg, Durban, Bloemfontein, Potchefstroom. I can never say that correctly. that have festivals there every year, you know. So they bring a lot of American artists come over every year. Yeah. Maybe next time I go, you should come with me.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, well, we're going to Maputo this time, which is actually on the east side of going northeast of Cape Town. But yeah,
right,
yeah.
Wow, what an amazing experience! I've actually never been to the continent of Africa.
You'll love it.
And
you love it. It's one of my favorite places in the world to go.
Is it?
Very, very. The people are wonderful. The food, the culture. You know,
Over
I mean, it has
Europe,
has a bad side too. You know,
Sure.
of course, you know, they still have the effects of apartheid with the townships and things, but the people as a culture and just the way they embrace you, you know, humanity in general, and as a country just growing together, you see diverse people just trying to bring the country together, and you know, it's just wonderful. I love it there. You know.
Wow.
Excellent. The Smooth Side of Soul is brand new with Najee, and number one already, as we would probably expect from. What is it from the master storyteller?
I take nothing for granted.
Debonair, multi-instrumentalist, engaged in a verbal.
I like the other voice better.
Okay.
Yeah. Both of us do.
I've spoiled you guys now.
Yeah.
But seriously, Smooth Side of Soul, and you can find it on NajeeMusic.com, of course, in all the stores. And his tour dates will be on his website as well, as he can update them. And you can catch him live, or you can grab his music, and obviously. He'll be all over the place, as we mentioned.
Yeah, and I'll be here in Southern California, the Catalina Jazz Festival we're doing.
That's right.
And the BB Jazz Festival in September.
Right,
so,
BB Jazz Festival in September.
In Huntington Beach.
Dates all over, but yeah, those are the closest ones to Southern California, but we have got listeners all over. So,
Is there anywhere on that list you've never been that you're going for the first time?
Uganda. I've never been there.
Oh wow!
Well,
I've never been to Uganda. That's the first one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well. Next time you come back, we'll have to find out. Because I'm sure you just collect stories. You're just one of those guys.
I do, yeah.
You do.
I mean, you know,
you
it's
just
so
end
funny.
Up in story places. That's why I said master storyteller. See?
I can't help it, though. You know,
It's
I mean,
perfect.
these are real experiences, though. You know,
and they're awesome. So we expect, Blake and I are going to expect an updated storytelling, story time with Najee.
Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There we go. Am I okay now? Did I get the voice back?
Yes, I love that.
All right, I redeemed myself. So, but seriously, I'm sure you'll have something you'll be able to talk to us about.
Yes.
We'll look forward to the next visit, update with you.
Definitely. Well, Najee, it's been such an absolute pleasure having you. You're welcome anytime, and thank you so much for
I always
coming by.
enjoy being around you, Blake. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And we're going to do a little bit more live music. And,
all right.
Yeah, very cool. Grover Washington Jr., Mr. Magic.
Very few bands get that hit right, you know.
Najee in the house. Very nice.
That was fun.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us on another edition of the Blake Aaron Radio Show.
Have yourself a great rest of your day.